Here are some of the papers we've got for you this morning. All right, we'll start with New Telegraph this morning. Infrastructure neglect, poor investment, others liable for power crisis, ascribed to experts. And then the writer says governors more interstate power cooperation. So certainly will not be a bad idea to see how they can work on that and ensure things go right. Right after that is the Abuja Inquirer. Police, military arrest bandits, ex-convicts on Abuja hills. Rescue victims. I know many may wonder, so what is going on here? I mean, what kind of patrol do we have on these hills? Well, that we might focus on much later here today. Nigerian News Direct, Lagos Abeokuta Expressway repairs stall months after fake approval. Angry commuters, motorists, others demand immediate action as road conditions worsen. Wow. How is this? Well, this is their version of what's going on this morning on the front page of Nigerian News Direct. Then Daily Independent is next. Despite CBN assurances, 3 banks show signs of distress. This is ascribed to analysts here this morning. And then the Blueprint, refuse to join us, get killed. Terrorist gang threatens Niger youths. Slay 20. Locals unable to access farms. Troops neutralize 10 in Kaduna community, Abia Forest. And then this Nigeria, MDA is struggling to pay salaries over 50% operating surplus deduction. That's how they lead here. Trade associations, workers want policy reversal. Experts urge FG to peg policy at 20% in first instance. Policy introduced to regain 1 trillion naira yearly loss, says FG. The Guardian, rising cost of borrowing, economy in throes of credit squeeze, sheds 7.1 trillion naira in 3 months. And then Business Day, stocks defy rate hike to gain 15.25 trillion naira in 5 months. Geregu Power, Dangote Cement, BUA Drive Rally. April, May performance show markets losing steam. Ooh. Have a look at the Vanguard newspaper. Experts see danger around a minimum wage battle. And then one of the writer here says, President Nas will determine our next action, ascribed to Labour, alleges conspiracy between governors and OPS. So, some of the stories right there for you here today. Or Daily Trust, governors spend billions on cars for lawmakers. It's misplacement of priority, activists, CSOs. The Daily Times, no cause for alarm over Nigeria's debt profile. Ascribed to experts, say nothing wrong with obtaining loans if used judiciously for developmental projects. So, I know you also have heard that narrative before. That's Daily Times. Well, those are some of the front pages this morning.
Certainly so many stories piquing interest this morning, but I'd love to start with the Vanguard newspaper. Of course, I already mentioned that the Business Morning on Sunrise Daily is going to be focusing on what the state can really afford. But when the Vanguard newspaper leads with that story that says experts seek danger around minimum wage, story being on page 5, then you want to ask some questions. Now, in the previous program, you saw the morning brief. The Labour leader there, was talking, well, when my colleagues asked him, look, there are some states that couldn't pay the previous 30,000 naira. And he said he laid it on the federal government, saying the federal government kept mum. And I'm wondering, is it the responsibility of the federal government to fight for labor? Well, one of the allegations there, from his own comments, is that, okay, the federal government has seen that the constitution was not being lined up with. Fine. So, but it is not the federal government that is directly affected. It is members of Labour that are being directly affected. So what is Labour? What has Labour done about that, and what should Labour do? Raising that argument, a number of people have raised. Can the states be allowed to determine what their minimum wage is, what they can afford? Because That's a consideration out there. But then when we hear that experts are saying that there is danger around the corner around this minimum wage battle, and we hear all kinds of things being said here and there, when the labor says that the people who are responsible for whatever issues we are going with economically are always going around in convoys of cars. There are those who are also asking the question, what kind of cars do labor leaders themselves ride? All kinds of questions, but these may be just permutations. But I am just hoping that at the end of the day, Nigeria benefits. It is my own prayer that Nigeria benefits. All around all of this conversation, are we also looking at productivity of the states? Because unless we are looking at the productivity of the states in the process of asking for more wages, we should be asking ourselves, what is the sustainability plan for this increase? It's just questions, guys. That's my lead take this morning, Chamberlain and Kayla.
Indeed, and of course, like we've been saying for the past 2 weeks or so, the focus is moving from the federal government to the states. In fact, the question has even come up as to the viability of these places that we're calling states. If a state is not able to feed itself, why does it exist? Does it exist for FAC allocations? And then, of course, with the increase in FAC allocations, what's going on? What has increased? What has been done, to justify this increase? We know everything is more expensive now, but has more been done at state levels? Well, the Daily Trust this morning carries a very troubling headline. Governors spend billions on cars for lawmakers. That's from the Daily Trust this morning. And this is from activists and civil society. It's misplacement of priority, more on it from page 4. And if you actually do go to page 4, you'll be hit with something so scary. It goes from state to state, talking about what the state governors have given in terms of cash for vehicles to lawmakers from their states. In Kano, for instance, Abba Kabiru Yusuf gave 2.7 billion worth of exotic vehicles to the members of the State Assembly. We're seeing that here from page 4. Lawmakers getting SUVs in Benue, in Gombe, in Kogi, Ondo, Ebonyi, Kebbi, Osun, Niger. In fact, in Niger, 25 of the 27 members of the State Assembly got Prado Jeeps each from Governor Mohammed Bago. And Delta, it goes on. So we're seeing that from page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. You should get a copy and join civil society and whoever it is new to ask more questions. Why were these cars given? Were they given, first of all, because this is from CSOs, from the civil society organization. They're saying this was done. So you can question your lawmakers. If they say these cars were given to your lawmakers, you can question your lawmakers. Find out if your lawmaker is in any of these places and put a call through to him, or write him and ask what's going on, why was this done? He has the obligation to answer you. So we have to start coming closer to the people and understanding what is really going on here.
Well, interesting point, guys. So I think one of the things to look out for is what they all decide. What kinds of arguments have they even made? We're not privy to the reasons why, just the sound bites afterwards. So who knows if Labour is going to crunch the figures for those states, because they do have workers in those states. Look at the revenue profile, the debt profile. If they say they will borrow to pay, what about the IGR? What capacity do they have? So all of those figures will matter at the end of the day. And for governors who always keep, because they'll go again in another 4 years. They'll give you all the reasons why you should vote them in. Maybe we need to start making economy the number one objective. Because if we do that, I think it might change a lot of things. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to how we elect and who we elect. If they can't provide the solutions, didn't we know before they were elected? I know, different narrative entirely. But don't worry, we'll talk about perhaps this and other matters in just a moment. So join us in a moment.